Is Mercury still in retrograde?
We just got out of Mercury in retrograde.
It's still Mercury in retrograde for me.
I feel like it is.
Well, we're in the shadow period right now, so things can still get a little funky.
You know, only in LA can you have whole like business decisions, conversations evolve around astrology.
Oh, yes.
Well, it's like LA and like the whole country of India. Have you ever heard of this? So like some of the biggest like businessmen in all of India, they have astrologers and they will consult their astrologers on like big decisions. I'm talking about like deals with Mark Zuckerberg, deals with Jeff Bezos. When they can move into a building that they just created, they'll call their astrologers. And sometimes the astrologers will say like, oh, not a good time to move in, not a good time to sign that contract. So they'll postpone these like multi-billion-dollar deals based off of this.
Welcome to GlowJob, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast to make you hotter and smarter. Mercury in retrograde. I told you, do not sign any new contracts right now. And there's going to be a lot of tech issues.
You know, I never really experienced this until like recently. Yeah. I never believed in Mercury in retrograde until the power went off in my house. My cell service dropped in my house. That has never happened.
Yeah. I mean, you and I bonded over this, didn't we?
We bonded over this.
We bonded over this, a trauma bond, as you do. Yeah, because I was saying to Sasa a couple of years ago, I had a contract pending with like a very well-known brand. And the CEO called me back and said, can you give us 30 days? And I was like, is there something wrong with the contract? You know, what's going on? And she was like, no, Mercury's in retrograde and we need it to not be in retrograde until we sign any new contracts. And I was like, okay, yep, okay, sure. We'll go with that. So, you know, there are, you know.
How did the business deal, like, how did it go?
It went after 30 days. It went after 30 days.
So maybe she's onto something.
Yeah. And I had to call the chemist that referred me to the project to say like, you know, is this a red flag? Should I move forward here? And she was like, no, absolutely. Just like go with it. Just go with the flow. I was like, okay, business in LA. Right, done.
Standard practice.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
We know that you are a product developer. So what do you do?
I don't know whether it's like a good thing or a bad thing that I get that question like frequently. Also, my business name, The Ingredientist, people are like, ingredient list, ingredient iced. I'm like, no, none of those, but I appreciate it. I am more of a behind the scenes person, which is probably going to become highly transparent come the end of this podcast. And I sort of am charged with moving the product from idea to shelf, concept to shelf. So in essence, I help extract the idea, the vision from the founder or the executive team, and then sort of guide the product through like the messy middle journey and assure that it hits the shelf. So I work with key stakeholders across the pipeline. So mostly chemists and marketers, or like your branding team, go to market. As a product developer, you basically have to be like the UN translator when it comes to like science and marketing. You have to be able to like onboard information really quickly and turn around and go, okay, so the chemist just said X, Y, and Z. How do I translate this across for marketing? Okay, here we go. So I often joke that I'm essentially like a glorified translator, but just charged with product.
So you work with all different levels of the business. When people come to you with ideas, like how fleshed out are they? You know, because I know a lot of people in this industry, they just have like a vibe that they want to go for, like something that they wish they could like wave a magic wand and make happen.
Are we doing vibes here? Are we doing values? Like which one is it? You can come, I mean, again, so LA. You can come to me with a set of values. You can come to me with a set of vibes, or just vibes in general. And we'll just work to shape that into a product. I've been brought to the table when there is like a a formula that's actually already baked, but maybe there's like, and when I say baked, meaning like the formula's finished, but now it's going into pilot scale or it's going into a line trial, which means that it's getting closer to the finish line. To go back to your question, Julia, and forgive me, if I had a podcast, I think it would be called Rabbit Holes, because like that's what I do is I get into
It's like actually a great name.
It's a really good name.
Okay. No one take it. It's mine. I'm registering it tomorrow.
Trademark.
Yeah. Trademark Rabbit Holes.
I feel like in hearing a little bit about your job, you have to be like kind of patient.
Yes. That's going on.
The response is just a laugh.
That's going on my grave. The stronger the vision, the easier it is to translate. I actually love it when people come with vibes, because then I can build the value set. And then from that value set, I can make sure that the product stays true to the science.
So when you say like value set, what does that mean?
These can be your brand values. This can be like your product strategy or your product methodology. So brands that are very interested in sustainability, or like, how do I tackle sustainability and inject that in my product? You know, what are you building your product for? Why does your company exist, essentially? And definitely for younger generations, like, you need to have a set of brand values that you're building the product according to those values. And whatever those values are, they have to be really clearly defined. We're looking to source cocoa butter, and we want to put that in our products. Now, cocoa butter is comes from chocolate. I think it's something like 90% of the world's chocolate comes from West Africa. So take Ghana, for example. Supply chain traceability, you want to make sure that your cocoa pods and your cocoa butter is being ethically produced. There's no human rights violations. We're not using child labor or practices. So it's things like that. So that's an example of kind of a value set, and then like how it breaks down behind the scenes when it comes to like product and then corporate strategy.
I feel like, the consumers don't realize that, like where the ingredients come from, how hard they are to get. Like, I feel like very rarely do people start to see like behind the lens. Like, I feel like just now people are realizing like how bad Cobalt is, right? Like, it's in all of our phones, all of our rechargeable devices. There's all of these like literal wars going on about it. But like, it's interesting to see, like, because I've seen on so many websites, people say like, we're sustainable. These are, our farmers. These are photos of the sheep where we get our sheep's milk from.
Right.
And like, people do appreciate that.
I always remind people that, and this kind of, it kind of comes with opening the parcel of greenwashing, that sustainability is not a product that you can buy. Like, the most sustainable product was the one that was never made. Like, that's the reality, right? But we're humans. We live to create. And so with that, I mean, sustainability is a journey. It's a commitment to constant progression at like every chapter of your company, essentially. And it's really hard. It's really freaking hard to do.
I also know that you teach at UCLA, because that is how I met you.
That is how we met.
Yeah.
You probably met me like bumbling along like I'm doing now. Going down rabbit holes.
Amazing. Yes, there were many rabbit holes. It's an 8-hour intensive course for 3 days on cosmetic, chemistry, and Holly, you taught like, I feel like a day and a half of like very specific parts.
But I have 2 other fantastic co-instructors. One is the legendary Rebecca Gadbury, who's been working in the beauty industry and teaching for over 45 years. And my other co-instructor is Amber Matthews, who is a brilliant process engineer. And so between the 3 of us, we sort of, tackle different topics according to our strengths and just basically whatever rabbit holes we feel like going down.
So I heard that one of your topics is INCI, INCI. Can you just like break it down, explain it to us what it is?
The INCI list, or ingredients, which is my jam. So INCI stands for International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients, which is quite a mouthful, which is why we're just referred to as INCI. So INCI is a regulated, standardized way of disclosing ingredients on the side of a unit carton or on the product. It's usually on the unit carton. I like to think of it a little bit like the ingredients birth certificate. if you will. Like if you're going to break it down and kind of put it into simplistic terms, it basically means that no matter where you are in the world, if you are interested in knowing what's in your product, the ingredient list will be the same. So it standardizes how the ingredient is listed. So for example, off the top of my head, astaxanthin, which is a type of alga or algae, the Latin binomial, which is how it's listed, like that's how often, like certainly for anything that's like botanical of origin, astaxanthin would read as Hematococcus pluvialis, which starts sounding like a Harry Potter spell. That's how you can read things. And then in parentheses, you'll see astaxanthin so that you know like, oh, okay, that's what's in here. For brands, it's a matter of compliance. For consumers, it's like the truth serum, the beauty truth serum of the product.
Is it true that regardless of what kind of product you create, you have to list the ingredients out?
That's correct. Yeah. There are some exceptions to that. So for example, fragrance, the brand can make a choice to sort of lump a number of ingredients under there that make up the fragrance. Historically, that's done to protect the intellectual property because, you know, perfumery is very much an art. It's the, you know, science and art meshed together. But nowadays, there is a trend towards transparency. There are many companies that are choosing to disclose what goes on, you know, what is under the term fragrance. But in some instances, it's literally like there might not be enough space on the unit carton to display the fragrance. So people could put like an asterisk next to it or something and say, for more information on our fragrance, go to our website or something like that. There's like a couple different ways that you can get creative.
What do you think is one common misconception that most people have when they're looking at an ingredient list?
In INCI format, it's called the 1% rule. When an ingredient is at 1% or below, you don't have to list it in descending order. At that point, you can scramble the ingredients around if you want to, but that's brand's choice. And it's usually if there's like a reason for intellectual property. So you literally just don't like, you know, rinse and repeat that formula from like a competitor brand. You know, people see ingredients listed in INCI format, like look for the 1% line. It takes a little bit of training to figure it out, but sometimes it's the preservative could be at 1%. There's kind of some telltale signs. Most formulas are water. It like 60 to 70% of the formula is like water. Brands aren't trying to necessarily hide something. There's good reason for the 1% line. It's because sometimes the actives or the performance ingredients are in there at 1%.
Oh, that would piss me off so bad.
Why?
Right? Like, I don't know if they say one of the actives that they're advertising is at 1%.
Well, sometimes active ingredients, here's the thing though, is that there are active ingredients where
like which ones?
There are a lot.
Sasa, I'm so proud of you.
I need to sign up for this class.
Because if you were to use more than 1% of certain ingredients, it would literally like hurt your skin.
Okay, so give us some examples of like ingredients that need to stay at below 1%.
Yeah, or below 1%.
Or at or below 1%.
Well, to be honest with you, there's not necessarily like a rule book because it's really formula dependent. Like it's dependent on what is this formula? What's the function? Is this a leave-on formula? Is this a rinse-off formula? So there's variability. You know, formulas are like humans. They're unique. We're both made up of 75% water, but we're all unique, right? Like in terms of like how we look, how we talk, how we act. There are a lot of, I say actives with like air quotes for people listening because actives is actually a drug term, but unfortunately has been picked up used a lot in marketing and cosmetics. But what I'm referring to is like performance ingredients. So these are like, this is like kind of the meat of the formula in terms of like, we promise that this ingredient is going to do this. So in chemistry terms, that means that it has been clinically standardized and proven. So there's efficacy behind it to deliver this result at this percentage. And to be honest with you, they're usually 1% or 2%. Anything beyond that, it's not either going to do the job that we promise you it's going to do, or it can actually be detrimental to your skin because it's too strong.
So is that what it means when you see like, let's say like a glycolic toner that says it's like a 7% glycolic? I'm thinking of like The Ordinary. So there's just like a 7%. I feel like I never see anything that like advertises it as like a 1%.
Yeah.
Maybe because they know what it's like, they know it's going to make people upset.
For exactly the reason that you were like, wait, hang on, I'm paying how much for this? And it's at 1%. That doesn't seem like it's going to work. It does. It really does. I mean, for example, right off the top of my head, I don't know if you were in this class, Sasa, but we had an ingredient supplier come in and talk about one of the oldest and most successful ingredients, which is called saccharide isomerate. It has a trade name, which I don't know if I can share or not, but saccharide isomerate. And saccharide isomerate, you can use it anywhere from 1 to 10%, formula dependent, but it's going to be very effective at improving your skin barrier and increasing hydration.
See, this is why
I need to take this 3-day class that you took.
it's so good because I think
I'll be able to school everybody. I know.
Because I do think there is a thing, right? There's a misconception we have where it's like, oh, if it's only 1% of something, that means it's bullshit. But then you come to realize, I feel like there's so many marketing terms that come into play. And honestly, this is why I respect like the craft. And I appreciate the fact that there are cosmetic chemists and product developers like you who can like help to guide us and inform us. Because otherwise we don't know jack shit.
What we've learned from this podcast is like there's so many examples of people just like fairy dusting products, like really putting in just the bare minimum so they can just slap the marketing terms onto the box and sell it, right? Like when you say that like, you know, the majority of skincare product is water, but not all skincare products, you know, use water as the base, right? So like there are options to make things more like concentrated or more efficacious, but like a lot of companies do cut corners and do kind of like skimp on what they say the active ingredients are.
Definitely part of my job in staying true to the science. And it's not always the sexiest thing in the world. I feel like product developers kind of sit in two different camps. You have technical product developers whose background absolutely can be a science-related field or chemistry. And then you have product developers who are more marketing prone. We do, as product developers, we do have a responsibility to make sure that the product remains true to the science because a lot of things can get mistranslated when it comes to marketing. I really am big about fighting misinformation. And so that often means like correcting founders, or if you find yourself at a C-suite table and you know that someone's about to get up and go in front of the camera being like, no, it's this, not that. Like be very careful about how you put this across. The truth often isn't like sexy.
Have you ever had a situation where you're working with a brand or a founder and you're developing a product and that situation happens? That sort of like battling misinformation and making sure that like the communication is on par.
Yeah, definitely.
Your face.
Like
I just see like the trauma washing over.
Like, how do I say this diplomatically? So I feel like a lot of the time I find myself correcting things that maybe that come out of information that is misconstrued. So for example, one that I haven't had this one recently, but like I see it a lot on social media when people are like, cosmetic ingredients can get into your bloodstream within 26 seconds.
Oh, I keep seeing this everywhere. People keep posting this.
Your skin has one job. I mean, it has many jobs, but it's got one main job. And that's literally to house your body.
To keep things out.
It's a barrier, right? Now, I'm not saying that things don't penetrate. They do, but your skin does a bloody good job of keeping a lot of things out. So, you know, that's an example.
Yeah. No, like our skin is literally our first line of defense.
Right.
It's a barrier, skin barrier, right?
Yeah. Now, what is true, and usually it precludes that, is your skin is your largest organ. And that's another light bulb. It's like a hook. And people go, well, shit, yeah, your skin is your largest organ. That is very true. So that plus misinformation meat plus truth sandwich, like two truths with a misinformation in the middle. But all you remember is the meat. Like that's the shit sandwich that I have noticed over and over again.
And I feel like the clean beauty industry, like that community, they get the worst of it, right? Like they get people that really just, take random like grasp at straws and then just run with it, right? And again, like going back to the beef tallow people, right? They say that they are all about clean beauty and that they're all about sustainability. But like, I feel like people that are truly in the clean beauty industry, like don't accept the beef tallow people.
No, that's like a subculture of
It's maha.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm thinking like not primally pure. That's a dog food brand.
No,
I thought Primally Pure is.
Oh, it is primally.
It is Primally Pure. It's not dog food. It's the,
Oh, no, the dog food is just primal.
Yeah, there we go.
Either way, don't rub either on your face, you guys.
Correct.
But yeah. Because like they have the same aesthetic, the same looking packaging, the same like general marketing vibe, right? But then at the end of the day, like they're just hawking garbage at people.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. This is the hard thing where it's like, as a product developer, you basically have to be like the equivalent of like Switzerland when it comes to neutrality and diplomacy. But then there are billboards around LA that say poison-free sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And my mind just fills with questions. I'm like, hang on a hot second. I mean, okay, first of all, on beef tallow, my opinion is this. And I guess it was a few months ago now, I was chatting with a good friend of mine. Her name's Gay Timmons. She's like the fairy godmother of essential oils in the industry. So her background is in physiology. So like understanding like, interactions within the body. And I was like, what's your opinion on beef tallow? Like, I have my opinion, but come on, just tell me. And she was like, here's the thing. Your adipose tissue, it's the same in animals, it's the same in humans. Adipose tissue is where you store certain hormones. Like beef tallow is chock-a-block full of hormones. And it hasn't been standardized for skincare. We don't fully understand it. But yet we're slathering it on our skin. And then besides that, like, I don't have any reason against it for like people who are using the whole animal, taking that debate. Sure, I see validity and reason in that, but
I haven't heard that yet with the hormones.
Neither do I. And that's so funny because I think that contradicts a lot of the reasoning why people use beef tallow, because their argument, air quotes, is that
hormone-free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They say that chemical sunscreen agents can be hormone disruptors. So they think that the beef tallow is a non-hormone disruptor, but you're telling me because of the fatty tissue where it comes from,
it's like a bar of hormones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a block of hormones.
Yeah. We store hormones in our fat and our adipose tissue.
We've been shitting on beef tallow for a while, but we've never thought of that reason. Thank you, Holly. We're adding that to our repertoire
onto the shit list.
Shouldn't use beef tallow.
Those are my reasons. Like when I was actually trying to break down the science of it, I was like, what would be my argument against it? Regardless, like it hasn't been standardized for skincare. We haven't studied it. We don't know. We can't go, yes, it does this, like, because we don't know. We haven't put it through any clinicals. And that's also an example of how a chemist will think, because a chemist will refer to the studies. Like if you ask a chemist, like, well, what do you think this will do? And they'll go, I don't know what it will do because there haven't been any studies on it. And you're like, yeah, but can you go beyond that and tell me your personal opinion? And they're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas a marketer will go, okay, let's reframe this. How do we
Let's reframe.
Let's reframe. Let's think, let's strip this down. And like, okay, well, what if we took this position based on our brand values? And that's the disconnect. So I'm there in the middle going, okay, guys, if we're interested in taking a stance against beef tallow as part of like the brand strategy, okay, here's how we would do that from a product perspective, because this is how it would, work with the formula or whatever, that kind of an example.
I feel like this happens in like every industry, like not just skincare. Like, I come from tech. So like in the tech industry, like the engineers will make this product and the marketers just like butcher it. They just like bastardize it, right? And they'll say it's like, something completely different than what it is. Like, yes, it does what the marketing team says it does, but is it the marketing team's fault? Are they the ones to blame
Well,
here?
They're trying to sell a story.
I know that
They're trying to keep their jobs.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, no, we need marketers. Like,
Yeah.
we need marketers. Otherwise, nothing would sell and we have no industry, quite frankly, right? If scientists were left to go, they literally just be like, yeah, buy this. Like, you know, they'd be like, it's good.
They'd be like,
It
didn't you
works."
read the study?
Right, exactly. Like,
It was in a journal. It was
read
published.
exactly, you know, and I covet chemists. Like I, you know, might tip my hats to them. So like no shade in that regard. I'm so glad you brought up other industries because, okay, so one of the other buzzwords that you would just like do away with, chemical free, which Sasa, you know from taking a class, like how much we go like, oh,
Ham.
Wait, you guys, can we play a little game right now and just name a chemical that just kind of prove that chemicals aren't bad?
Yeah, I'll start. Water, H2O, is a motherfucking chemical.
done. That's all you need to know. Yeah, that's it.
Or like people are like, oh, I want oxygen. Oxygen is so good for your skin. O2 all day, right? Like, come on. Chemical. Everything is a chemical. These cards are made of chemicals, right? Like, like
Salt is a chemical.
So, yeah, you guys don't need me. You're good. You're going away. Yeah.
no, I still haven't
firing
taken
away.
this class, Holly.
No,
so.
you're doing it. You're doing it. Yeah, no, well done. I mean, ozone is another one that's like, you know, O3. That's kind of making its way into skincare as well, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I recently saw ozonated beef tallow. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to save that. Put a pin in that one. But yeah, exactly. All the culmination of.
Okay, you have to start sending us these things when you see them.
Yeah,
we'll put them on
please.
blast for you.
Yeah.
No, you know, like I know you have like clients and you have to like, you know, like you have to be Switzerland, as you said.
Yeah.
We will not be Switzerland.
We'll protect your reputation.
You guys
We
are
will.
good.
It'll be
Okay, all
totally
right.
anonymous. We'll put it on blast for you. Because the people need to know.
So one other thing, Holly, that I learned from you at the UCLA Cosmetic Chemistry course was about industry regulation and actually specifically how little regulation there is in beauty. Can you give our listeners like the quick and dirty on the cosmetic industry regulation in the United States?
Depends if we're talking about federal level or we're talking about state level.
Let's do a breakdown of both.
So I wrote my thesis on the regulatory status of the cosmetic industry, but this was in like 2010, 2011. Now, granted, I do want to preface, I'm not a regulatory expert. On a federal level, we have a piece of legislation. It came out in 1938. It was the piece of legislation that also founded the FDA, and it was called the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act of 1938. Fun fact, it was created because as a reaction to Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. It was like a high school reading. I don't know if you guys ever read that.
Yeah.
Highly disturbing, that like profiled the food industry, like meat packing specifically, and like the horrors of that. And so it sparked this, I think it was Franklin Roosevelt, to essentially federal regulation to do exactly that for food and drugs. Cosmetics was thrown in there at the last minute because there was a product on the market called Lash Law. And Lash Law,
Great name.
not so great formula. Lash Law, I believe, had really high levels of just straight up mercury in it. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of products back in the day were like so bad, like mercury, lead,
Absolutely.
arsenic.
So, okay, another rabbit hole, quite literally.
Let's do it.
Alice in Wonderland. Like, I don't know what that tells you about me. That was literally my favorite childhood book, and it was the only Disney movie that I would watch. The Mad Hatter, you know, the character, the Mad Hatter. That was a term that they used for people who created hats, which I cannot remember what that is, or literally just a hatter. They were mad because they lined the linings of the hat with, I think it was mercury, which is like one of the most potent neurotoxins.
So it literally made him mad.
Literally made them mad. So hatters were loopy because they literally lined the hats with mercury.
Why do you need mercury in the hat?
Why do we need to know this? I don't know, but now we do.
I mean, I don't know where people were sourcing their ingredients from back in the day, but like, you know, you've heard of like cocaine, you know, like drugs and like, you know, like and Coca-Cola or like dental treatments, you know, like people just, it was it was crazy back then.
one of the original recipes for Coca-Cola. And then there was something else. It's literally just like straight up morphine mixed with, yeah, you just knocked it back like an elixir. You know, there's some fascinating. So this is why
Crazy.
drugs were also on the, you know, like food, drug, and cosmetics. But cosmetics was thrown in there because this woman who used lash law had gone blind and like it made national news. And so they were like, well, I guess we're throwing cosmetics in there as well.
And so what does the 1938 Act say about cosmetics specifically?
The actual part on cosmetics is, and this is like how I got into this, because I was in the BU law library at like 3 a.m., like literally Harry Potter restricted section style, looking through this like massive bound leather book. And I like flipped the section on cosmetics. I was like, oh, should be interesting. And it's like, mind you, this is a big book, right? But it's half a page and it's about 3 paragraphs. And then you flip to the next page and it continues on with drug law. And I was like, hang on, where's the rest on cosmetics? It defines cosmetic. So a cosmetic is basically anything that you apply to your body for the purposes of hygienic or beautification reasons. So essentially the federal regulation is like, don't infringe on drug law. So drug law is pretty extensive. The actual line in the sand between a cosmetic claim versus a drug claim is what's called a structure function claim. So if you are claiming as a cosmetic brand that you are altering the structure or the function of the skin in order to create a specific outcome, that is a drug. For example, if you're applying a moisturizer, you can say things like improves the appearance of X, Y, and Z. But you can't say things like treat or heal or cure, because that is a drug claim. That's on the federal level. It's pretty bare bones. How it gets complicated is on the state level. Classically, in the United States, it's difficult to push federal regulation through. We have all these different states, like mostly it's California, Washington, the state, not DC, and New York. And Massachusetts. Those are the 4 kind of like leaders as far as like public health is concerned.
Basically, what you're telling us, Holly, is like the only regulation that the US government has in cosmetics is basically on claims. It's like what you can say a product does, but there aren't really regulations, at least for within cosmetics. Drugs is a different case, right? Like you don't have to test the product before it goes to market. Like there is no agency out there being like, this is safe to use, and now you can use this moisturizer or the serum, right?
Correct. Yeah. So on a federal level, there is no pre-market safety approval required, which is different to drugs. But basically, it's on the brand or it's on your manufacturing partner. I personally have never worked with a brand that hasn't gone above and beyond when it comes to safety testing. But yes, it is on the brand. I mean, okay, so it does say in federal legislation that these products have to be safe for use, but it doesn't define what safe means. And that's the crux of the issue. Now, there's a new piece of legislation, the new kid on the block, MoCRA, which stands for the Modernization of Cosmetics Regulatory Act, I believe.
Regulation Act.
Yeah.
Regulation Act. Thank you. Quiz me. This bill kind of took us all by surprise. Like it was passed on like December 23rd, 2022. I don't know why I know that. And like as an industry, we weren't really prepared for it. What's even fascinating is that the lawmakers who created it, they're not beauty specific. Like they didn't really consult anybody from the beauty industry. And so that's been really interesting. Like apparently there was like a special like meeting or something called, and they were trying to figure out like, how do we inject sustainability initiatives or like compliance into MoCRA? And one of the senators that was on this commission got up and basically was like, can't we just have people refill things in mason jars? Like, can't we just do that?
I mean, I guess there's no like Estee Lauder version of like lobbyists, right? Because like Estee Lauder, I mean, but they're not like leading the charge, like them, L'Oreal. They're not leading the charge in like clean, sustainable beauty. But like that's how other companies get it done. They spend a lot of money on lobbyists.
Like milk. Yeah.
Big milk,
Big milk.
Yeah, raw milk.
calcium.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. So it's fascinating. It's totally fascinating. But regulatory is a whole world.
So what was it supposed to do? Was it supposed to just like zhuzh up everything from like the past that had like a lot of antiquated views on like the cosmetics industry? Like what was the goal when they decided to introduce MoCRA?
To be honest with you, everyone in the industry, like with some particular contingencies, they're like, we don't know what that means. Like we honestly don't know what that means or like how to interpret it yet. And the FDA has been going, we'll release those explanations. But
They still haven't.
Well, I mean, there's like 3 people working in the FDA right now.
I know.
Right,
So
exactly. That's why
we're going to be waiting.
That's why I'm like, I just would love to have an FDA like around. Like we need federal oversight. So MoCRA was supposed to, or it hopefully is supposed to, create things like a national registry. Like brands have to register themselves, and they also have to register all of their products and the ingredients that are used in those products. So basically working to create a centralized database of like all the products that are for sale in the United States.
That would be good.
That would be good.
But also like hard, I would say in some ways for like smaller indie brands. Cause like I'm thinking of like other databases, let's say like the National Eczema Society, right? Where you have like some brands that can afford to get that eczema approved seal. But let's say you're an indie brand, you don't have the tens of thousands of dollars it costs to use that every year.
You're literally outlining a problem that I'm having right now. Yeah. How did you know? And then it's really hard for indie brands, especially when it comes to innovation as well. I think one area that we're all hopeful about is, or fingers crossed, is sunscreen. That we might get.
Tinsorb.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Big Tinsorb fan over here. Yeah, that we might get more sunscreen actives so that, I don't know, we can join the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, so MoCRA is supposed to modernize the beauty industry, create centralized databases. One of the other things it's supposed to do is require fragrance allergens, for example, to be disclosed in the same way that Europe.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. The problem is we don't know what allergens they want us to disclose yet. This is part of those like rolling updates that we're supposed to have, because we were hoping that they'd just like fall in line with the EU, which the EU used to be 26. Now it's like 85 or something insane.
If you were a skincare ingredient, which one would you be?
I'd probably be a basic bitch.
And be which one?
Glycerin.
I was going to say like ceramides, glycerin.
Glycerin is a staple.
You need it.
She's the underdog. And there's so many ways to like make her now, like biotech.
Finish the sentence. The one thing I wish every beauty consumer knew is...
Every product is an iceberg. You're only seeing the tip. It does not, I know that sounds a bit dirty, it does not give, like the finished product on the shelf gives you no insight into the mountain of like decisions, iterations, research and development, brain power, money that goes into the creation of that product.
I'm remembering in class, actually Holly said this, and behind her was an image of an iceberg.
I am obsessed.
And if you think of an iceberg, like you see the ice on the top, but underneath it is so deep and giant. And it's like, that's all the research and all the like development into the product.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, we're going to do a little rapid fire.
Okay.
Are you game?
I am.
First question is a fuck, marry, kill question. But Holly, fuck, marry, kill your makeup, your outfit, or your hair?
Marry hair. Right. Okay. I'm thinking about this way too logically. Hair. Because if I was naked, that's all I'd have to go off of. I mean, other than makeup. Kill makeup because whatever. I know that's like what funds my career, but kill makeup. Like at the end of the day, your body is your body. And what was the other one?
Outfit.
Oh yeah, fuck outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh God, I am a night owl who desperately tries to be a morning person. That is the response. So I've got like identity disorder, essentially.
So what's the last thing you do before going to bed?
absolutely wash my face.
Very important.
Skincare routine. I mean, try not to look at my phone.
What about Desert Island Beauty product? One that you've developed and one that is not your own.
Sunscreen. Absolutely. Like I just got back from Mexico, except I got burnt off of a reflection off of the sand. I was in the shade and I got burnt off of a reflection off of the sand. So if that gives you any insight into how horribly, like I should be like a Fitzpatrick 0, like that kind of.
I've never heard of that before. I was just thinking like reflection off the water.
Same.
That's a thing.
Yeah,
No,
that is a
off
thing.
Sand.
Off of the sand.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was fairly white sand, I'll give it that. But like it was horrendous. I don't know. I'm still burnt, actually. I'm 2 weeks out. I'm still burnt.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's atrocious. Skin cancer runs in my family. So absolutely sunscreen, Desert Island. I absolutely love, it's a product by a brand called Cheeks & Co. There's one product called Tidal Shift, and it's like a universal strengthening serum. So it kind of, we designed it to like hit every checkpoint. Like there's ceramides in it, there's hydrators in it, there's soothing ingredients in it. So that's kind of that. I probably would take that with me on my desert.
And lastly, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Embrace being a weirdo.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Like embrace what makes you different, I guess. Embrace being weird, because you never know, one day it can propel you in ways that you wouldn't think otherwise.
Thank you so much, Holly. This was so fun.
Yes.
My pleasure.
We loved
Thank you
all the
so
rabbit
much.
holes.
We learned
all
a
the
lot.
rabbit holes.
Now I got to go sign up for your class.
Yeah, there's 3 classes at UCLA, and Holly teaches all 3.
Thank you guys so much for having
Thanks,
me.
Holly.
This was so
Thanks,
much
Holly.
fun.